So that would be the final outcome of today's lesson. This is just a site. So first, I'll show you how to do this simplified version of the Milan house. And then once we have this, we have to do this, the parking space, which is even easier. And just copying all these modules, we will have different options on, yeah. So because I saw different options in your presentations, so I will give you, how to prepare different typologies that I saw with your, how you can arrange all these Milan houses. Okay, let's start. So first, what is the Milan house? The Milan house is a box, so you can select box, click anywhere, and then just type 20, enter, 20, enter, and the height is, I think it's 26. Okay, so this is our Milan house. Now, I'm going to move it here. So now I need just these two openings. Okay, so the first, so the first floor is around 10 feet. And then it's 20 by 20 by 26. Okay, so I want this opening here, and then another opening there. So the two floors are not exactly the same, so that's not going to be just in the middle. So how can I do this? Okay, first I'm going to draw a line here from this midpoint to that midpoint. Okay. And then I'm going to draw another line here at the base. And I want to move this line okay, so I can go to the right or the front elevation where this line is visible. And I want to move it up 10 feet. There you go. Yep. So now I can draw another line here. There you go. And we should have these two lines. Oh, okay. Layers. I have created these layers. Okay, so you can create new layers. We have houses, green areas, parking, and pedestrian areas. There might be more layers, but at least we have houses, green, parking, and pedestrian. So by default, I'm working with parking. So I'm going to select the house. And I want this to be houses. Okay. And I'm going to click this as a default option. Okay, so first, is this block 20 by 20 by 26? Then I need these divisions. So this distance is 10 feet. And this line, it's at the middle, it's at the midpoint of the face. So now I want to create polylines. Okay, so I'm going to select the polyline and just
real quick, show me how to like make the lines snap points again.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap.
And I select everything here and near point, mid, center, intersection, perpendicular.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So when I have this, I want a polyline, and then I want to trace this rectangle here. And for example, the small rectangle there. There you go. Now I'm going to create an offset. So the distance, I type offset, and then I click distance, and I type one foot. And now I have to select the rectangle. You see that here we have different things. We have a curve, we have extrusion, you have to select the rectangle, okay, the yellow rectangle here, and move inwards. And then we have this rectangle there. And now another offset, select the curve, and now the rectangle there. So now I'm going to extrude and apply the Boolean difference. I type extrude, select this rectangle, and move this all the way. And the same thing here. If you click enter, you select the last option that you did before. Okay, select this, and then there. By default, I don't have, I don't know, this might be different in your RHINO, but by default, you see that it's a hollow thing. It doesn't have a cap. So I have to select it, type cap, and now it becomes solid. And finally, the Boolean difference. I type these two spheres together, and this is Boolean difference. First, the house. Second, the window. Again, first the house, second the window. And there you go. So are you following me? Do you need any help? Okay.
No, I'm just a little bit behind. So
A little behind, but if we've been doing this for 30 seconds, so.
I know. Yeah, but when I'm doing it here.
Okay, so remember, click activate the parking layer, click rectangle, and now we click somewhere and we have a 20. No. Before doing this, I take it for granted. What's the size of a parking place?
8 by 20.
8 by 20.
Like that, 9 by 20,
Something like that, 9 by 20.
Yeah.
Something like that. But if Google, thank God, someone invented Google, because if we just Google size of parking space. Okay, so what are the standard dimensions of a parking space? So it is, okay, 8.5 to 9 feet wide and 18 feet long. Okay, so 8.5, it's very difficult to remember. So let's say 9 by 18. So let's click here, rectangle, and then we have to type 9 by 18. So that's the parking place. Okay, so it's even easier than the house. So those are the two modules that we're going to use. We are using them in land house because it's the house we're working with. In that parking space, every time you're designing parking lots, you don't have to think about it. Is it 9? Is it just try to internalize this 9 by 18. This is much bigger than in Europe, by the way. So you can't drive or you can't park your cars in a European parking space. And I have seen a lot of Americans struggling with that. But yeah, so there the parking spaces are smaller than here. Anyway, that's it. That's the basic module. So I'm going to do another shape here. So this is what I did for the first section. So for you, I want to do randomly, so it doesn't have to be like this. I want something 400 by 800. This is bigger than the side that you're working with. And I need random angles. So, okay. So this is what I'm going to do because it's more difficult than if everything is perpendicular. So I'm going to work with random angles. So again, line. And I'm going to start here. I'm going to type 400 and any angle like this. Now enter here and let's say 800 and another angle. And now I'm going to go this way and that way. Okay, so we have this shape, but you have to trace the site in which you are working. Okay, so we're doing this randomly. And then what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to do a curve like this. So now, what is the question? What is the size of a double lane road?
Isn't it? I don't know. I think it's like
20. But Mr. Google will answer this question. Size of so lane width, it's 10 feet generally. Okay. So 2 lane would be 20, but I'm going to do it slightly bigger. So I'm going to use like 24, for example, because I need some space after the lane. So okay, so first I'm going to draw. You see, I'm going to draw a curve. Then I'm going to apply an offset, and then I need a sidewalk. Okay, so this is the central line. Then I have the first, and then the sidewalk. So here, again, randomly, we have to trace a curve. So with this one, we trace lines. With this one, we trace curves. So select this one, and then look at how the curve works. And if you want to finish the curve, I just do this. Okay, so the curve, it's so you have to get the feeling of working with curves. So we are not tracing anything, it's just something random. So we have this. Now, offset. So we have to apply offset. The distance, it's, well, since we have a, let's say 12, to be on the safe side, 12 in this direction, enter, 12 in the other direction. Okay. And now, what is the size of a sidewalk? Well, I'm not
Google knows.
Huh?
It's like Google knows.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's where we're going with it.
So no, sidewalks are different because there is not like a standard size. What would you say? 10. Minimum width of 5. Okay, so that's interesting. This section, if we could make it larger. Okay, so apparently PDF walk sidewalks and whatever public spaces. Okay, so that's not even Google. Yeah, okay, we have 10. This buffer space we have. This is why I have done this a little wider. So it's 1 and I don't know how many inches, or it's 1 foot. Yeah, I think 1 foot. Okay, then we have 5 for this buffer space. We want to separate the traffic from the sidewalk, and then the sidewalk is 6. Okay, I think 6 is better than that. So we are going to create another offset. And 6. In this direction, enter 6 in that direction. Okay. Now, a roundabout. So what is the diameter of a roundabout? So again, I don't think there's a standard dimension for roundabouts. There might be different diameters, but let's find out size of roundabout. Okay, the diameter ranges from 150 to 250 feet. Okay, so let's say 200. So here I have to draw a circle. And then, well, sometimes it works with radius, sometimes it works with diameter. I don't know what you have by default. I have diameter. If I click on radius, then diameter is here. So I don't know. If you click on diameter, then the diameter, it was 200. I don't remember. Okay, 150 to, let's say 150. 200 is going to be too much. So let's say 150. And this is the exterior diameter. Now, roundabout, usually, well, we can have a double lane, but in this residential area, I think one lane would be enough. So I'm going to offset. So one lane, it's 10, but I'm going to give it a little more distance. So let's say 12. Click here and go. There you go.
Did you offset inside or outside?
Inwards. Well, 150 is the minimum, so you can go outwards. Okay, but I've gone inwards. Now I'm going to continue this with a straight line, just go beyond the boundary.
Isn't an acre 200 feet by 200 feet?
Is it what?
Isn't an acre 200 feet by 200 feet?
An acre.
Yeah. So
An acre is 42,000 square feet. Actually, 40. So 200 by 200 is for not 40,000. So it's slightly more than 200 by 200. You ready? Okay, so that's the road. So I have to continue offset. The first is 12 here, and second there, and then distance 6 for the sidewalk, 6 here, and 6 there. Okay, so now we don't have a sidewalk on the roundabout. Okay, so I'm going to type offset again, and I'm going to create a 6 foot sidewalk here. So I need another circle, 6 foot. Okay, now these intersections between when we are working with cars, roads, the curves cannot be like this. Okay, so you can't have a road and then this sharp or this 90-degree angle. It doesn't work. Okay, so we always need a curve like this, and we need like that would be what we call the fillet. Okay, so this is the first radius, and then the second radius is this one plus the width of the road. So if this road it's 24, so we need first this radius, and then we need to add up 24. Okay, I'm going to do it, and we have an option here. This one, it's a fillet curves. This one. Okay, so by default, type 20 for the radius or this fillet. 20 goes well. Oh, first, sorry, we have to trim. So here is this icon here is trim, or we can type trim. And then we have to select this one and this one. And we have to trim all the lines that we have here in the roundabout. And then this one, and trim all the lines here. Okay, so now we're going to start applying fillets. So let's do it. First, fillet, the first one is 20. So I select this curve, that curve, and you see that we have this nice fillet here. Then this, and this, no, sorry. fillet again, this, enter, this, enter, that. Are we good? Okay, I'm going to continue and then I will give you some time to do it. Now, the second fillet, if the radius of this one was 20, and the sidewalk is 6, now the radius is going to be 26. Okay, so let's do it. 26. Fillet, radius, 26. And then we have this one, and then we have 26 here. But, well, yes, okay, that's good. And I'm going to do it again. Another fillet, 26, this one, and this one. And now 26, this one, and this one. No, sorry. This one, and this one. And finally, this and this.
When I did fillet, it deleted the back half.
Okay, so we have to trim this line and no, and this one, and this one, and now we have to trim this one here. And now when we trim this, we can apply the fillet with the radius 20, this and this, and this and that. So every intersection between the side boundary and this road should be like a fillet of 20. Okay, so when we're working with urban design, especially with roads, those fillets are important because we don't want sharp corners when we are driving. Everything has to be like smooth with curves like this. Okay, then we are going to build the parking places. We have parking places in the street and we have parking lots inside our site. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do both and then you decide where you want parking lots. Okay, so we have here this first. Let's do this. So we have the parking place, then we have this buffer area. So there's something, it can be like a grass or plant, something to separate the sidewalk from the parking spaces. And then we have a sidewalk here. Okay, so we're going to do this 6 feet, then 3 feet, and then the parking space is there. So I'm going to go to my area. And the first I need I don't have a fillet here. So I'm going to create an offset first with 6. So I want to go this way and look at this. If I work with offset, I don't have to do the fillet again. So if I offset something that has been previously filleted, if that word exists, now it works well. And now I can trim. There you go. Okay, so we're following this. We need a sidewalk, 6 feet, 3 feet for this buffer area between the sidewalk and the parking lot. So I'm going to offset. And now 3 feet. Like this. And now I'm going to start placing my parking places. So I'm going to copy this one or move. I'm going to select a corner and I'm going to place this in this corner here. Okay. And I know the tilt between the parking place and this, it's close to 45. So I'm going to rotate here, here, and then move it that way. Okay, so close to 45, it goes well here. Yes.
Wow, what was that was the offset for
Yeah, we have 6 and then 3.
3?
Okay, so now I want to copy this, but I want this corner to be always on this line. There are different ways to do that, but I'm going to do something very simple. I'm going to create a line here. Now I select the same line, I move it, and now I trim it. Okay, and now I can keep copying all this, copy. I select this corner and I copy it as many times as I. Okay. So now I have the road. The road, in theory, it's not mine. Now we have parking spaces. I have a buffer area between the parking place and the sidewalk. And then I have the sidewalk. And here I can start my houses. In this line, I can start my houses. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to start the houses there. To do so, I have to copy my Milan house here. And okay, so there it is. And now I'm going to move the Milan house, this corner, to be here. And now I have to rotate because this is not perpendicular. My road is different. So I want to rotate. This is the first point. This is the second point, and that's the third point. And this line. Okay, so now I have lined up my Milan house and the road. If it's perpendicular, it's easier, but I'm doing the most difficult case. So we have houses, sidewalk. Probably, I don't know, maybe it would be interesting leaving more space between the sidewalk and the house itself, but anyway. And now I need to copy this house along this line. So we can do it, we can select it and copy, or I will show you another option, the array. You have to type array, CRV, array curve. Select objects, the Milan house, enter. Now we select the path, it's this line. And we have 2 options here. By default, I think it's the number of items. I think this is what shows up by default. Or we have distance between items. I'm going to select distance because the distance between items, it's 1 Milan house, it's 20 feet. So I type 20. And I think here you have to select freedom and then okay. Whoop. So if there are too many, yeah, so don't, yeah, probably we need a space between the starting point of the curve and the houses itself. But here we have this masterpiece. And again, if this is too boring, and it is, we can select one of the houses We can mirror. Make sure that you select copy no. If it's copy yes by default, select copy no. And then we select this midpoint, that midpoint. And at least we have the same Milan house, but it's not the same. Okay, so if you do this randomly from time to time, at least we have some variations in this. Yep.
Can you just show the step again, kind of like copy the houses down?
Okay. I'll do it. I'm going to do it here because this is a curve and it will be more difficult. Okay. So I'm going to copy this here. So first select the house, move it. One corner should be on the line. Now I have to rotate. This, and this. And now I want to move it along this line. So I have to type array, but array CRV, array curve. Okay. Now we have to select the curve and select path. No, this is the array curve. Select objects first, enter, select curve, this one. And now you have this, when we have a curve, and we have to be careful because if it's a straight path, it's a straight path, and I'm going to copy something that is 20 by 20. So the distance between objects will be 20. But if we have a curve, and this is here, if the distance is 20, there will be overlaps like this to adapt. So we will have these overlaps. Okay, so if we are moving or copying a square along a curve, we have to increase the distance. So I think I was discussing this with you last time. What would be the distance between two houses if we don't want attached houses? What was the minimum distance that we agreed on?
Was it four?
Oh, 40?
40.
No, in
Wait.
between.
Oh, in between the
Between.
actual, 40.
4 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we agree on 4 feet, let's say 5, round up. So now the distance between items, I would type 25. And if I click enter, whoop, is this what we want? I think it works well here. There's a point in which I don't like it. Okay, so if I don't like it, then I have to move it. Here, and then I can rotate. Like this. Okay, that's difficult. When we have a curve like this, it works well. But if the curve gets closed, then probably this doesn't work very well. And it's better doing this one by one. Okay, I can place it here, then rotate. Okay, so if it doesn't work with this array along the curve, we just copy them and we try to line them, leaving a minimum distance. And what is that minimum distance? Because if we have two houses that are not attached, we need enough space. Imagine that it snows. We have to remove the snow from this because we can't have an alley so narrow, like 2 feet, so that we cannot go and the snow gets there. It's disgusting. Okay, so make it as wide, yeah, 5 feet, 4 or 5 feet would be enough so that you can remove the snow from there. Anyway, that's it. So we can either do this if we have a curve, we can adjust the houses along this curve. By the way, this is not the curve that I want. It's this one because it's the other side of the sidewalk. Okay, so I have the sidewalk and then the house is there. And madre que la parió. Ahí está. Okay, so if you have a curve, you can try this. If it doesn't work, then you have to go one by one, adjusting the houses to the curve. Okay, but let's continue to this because, well, this is not acceptable. Okay, so it's too boring. So we have to do something as we did here, something a little more appealing. And basically, it's about removing some of the blocks and about creating some, because if we had, okay, I'm going to copy all these houses. Now, you mentioned 40. 40 should be the minimum distance between two land houses. That depends on the rules and regulations of every city, but there's like a rule of thumb. The minimum distance between two houses is 1.5 times the height of the building. So this height of the building is 26. 1.5 times 26 is around 40. Okay, so I said 40 because it's something that it's easy to remember. But this is like the rule of thumb. If we have double or stacked houses, now this is 52. So that distance should be 80 if we have another house there. But in this case, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to stack this row, but not the other one. And why is that? Because I have to keep in mind the orientation. The south, well, by default, supposing that so we are working with this. So I assume that the north is upwards, the south is downwards. And this is very important in urban design. Because if we assume that this is the south, and this is the north, okay, and the sun in the northern hemisphere, it's going to be here, it's going to be in the south, and it's going to, the direction of light is like this. So we can't have this space without sunlight, okay? So if I do the other way around, imagine that I'm working like this. This is the south. And this is the north. Then this building is casting shadows on that building. And that is not acceptable. Okay, so that's why if we stack rows of houses, we either make this distance 80, double, or we change directions so that this is the tallest and this is the shortest one, because we want the southern light to get into this courtyard or this space between two houses. Okay, so that's very important. It's not written anywhere, but it's common sense. Okay, so so that's why I did this. Okay, so you can have higher or taller buildings in the northern side and shorter buildings on the southern side. Anyway, we can start. Well, first we need a line. So the distance between this and this should be 40. So I'm going to create a line here. We have to go perpendicular. I want to go perpendicular here. So if this is the perpendicular line, we have 20 plus 40. So I need a line of 60 following this perpendicular line. There you go. And now I need another perpendicular line, and I'm going to move it here. Okay, so this is 40 now, and now I can start copying all these. Okay, all of them. Copy. And me cago en la madre. Well, it always happens. I copy it and they are in the wrong position. Okay. So now we can keep copying all of them. So this is what I told you. If we are here in this oh, sorry, I made a terrible mistake. So this has to be 40, and now it's 20. Yes. Okay. So I have to move them. This is it. Okay, so it's 40 between two different rows. But yes, if we are here, it looks like, so if we are in a street like this, it's I know. Okay, it's too long. All the facades are the same. So it's like something scary. So we need to give some. Yeah, we need something. Okay, so it's this is not acceptable. We cannot have two rows of houses like 800 feet with this relentless uniformity. It's something that doesn't work. So we have to. I recommend you, for example, you can open this. If we open this is like another entrance to our site, and then. This is the concept of the gate. I told you, or I told some of the groups, that if you are driving or if you are walking and there is something that you can, that makes you change your direction, there should be something visual. So we can always copy two of these. Okay, so now at least in this street, we know that when the buildings get taller, we have an entrance, we have like a gate to that element. So that would be a good place to double the height of this. And then randomly, we can keep copying those Okay, so now I have something that it's slightly more appealing than the other thing. And then if we remove one of the houses, yep.
Exterior stairs for a model.
Yes, if we have this, we need to think about the access to this second floor. We will deal with this next week. Okay, but yes, we have to figure out how to access this. So probably we need like a corridor or an outdoor walkway on the second floor to access these houses. But let's deal with that next week, okay? So now I want you to add things to make that space less boring. And then another thing we can do is we can, for example, okay, I'm going to add a line here and here. Okay, so I am going to connect these two blocks. So I want to copy this line. And now I'm going to create like a volume to interrupt this giant courtyard or open space that we have here. So I'm going to draw a polyline, making these elements here. And now I'm going to extrude. And I don't want to go up to the floor, but up to this first floor and cap. There you go. Okay, so now that space, it's something different. So at least I don't have this infinite corridor. So I interrupt, I can go underneath this volume, but at least I interrupt this. So if I have this glass, and this can be a space that benefits the community. We can have like a common laundry, or we can have a hall to celebrate the birthdays of people or something like this. Okay, so we can make, this can be part of that, of those other uses that we have other than housing. So we can have a small shop here. And I think it's, the community will benefit from this. It's we interrupt the uniformity of this, and at the end, at the same time, we can have here a different, different use. So if you do this from time to time, okay, so we create like courtyards, and now we can design something specific for this courtyard. And as we are moving along this, we find like different environments or different spaces, one with trees, another without trees, with a fountain or without. So it's just a way to interrupt something that it's too long. Okay. And then another, when we start when we start a series, we need something special, and when we finish that series, we need something special too. Okay, so the rest of the things can be all the same. So we can have, it's like when we are eating sausage. So sausage is something very long with the same section, but what is the beginning and what is the end? So it's the same thing is here. So we need to start the sausage, and then we need to finish it, and then in the middle, no problem. Maybe a sausage is not a good metaphor, but what I'm going to do is to design something special. We don't have to design the building, but we know that at the corner, we need something different. Okay, so in this corner, I am going to design a different building. So I'm going to trim this one. Oh, I need another line here. So I'm going to extrude this element with a different height, and then I'm going to create here a different building for the corner. So I can do, I'm going to work in the houses. I'm going to draw a polyline. Like this. If you're working with polylines, enter, and you will finish the polyline. If you don't click enter, the polyline doesn't show up. Enter. And now I'm going to fillet with a radius of 20, these two polylines. And now I join. Okay, so all this is a polyline now. I extrude. And this is it. Now by default, I can use the same height. Yeah. Okay, so I have finished with something different. So I don't have to design this building, but this can be another use, a different building, but at least it has a different rhythm of openings, or it can be completely different. And okay, so I think this is a good way to finalize a corner. But we don't have to define this building. We don't have to design it. It's just another block that it's different from our Milan houses. So something similar I can do here. Okay, so here I can make up something to finalize this series of houses. So we require high density because I have to make money out of this project. So I need a lot of houses. But again, it doesn't mean that it has to be boring. So try to, if you have rows or if you have courtyards like this, try to change the height of the elements, try to remove some of the elements so that we have gates and we can, we have other entrances to other places. If you want to change the height of this extrusion sample, because you the maximum height is 2 Milan houses, okay, but we can do something in the middle. So if you want this building that it's different to be a little taller, we can change this. So we have to use solid tools, and here we have move extrude face along path. Okay, so we have all these options. So we have to select this one, extrude face. Okay, then we select the face that we want to extrude, this one, we click enter, and here we can change the height of this element. So we can go, okay, so it can be a little taller, I don't know, if you want 10 feet, so we can type 10, and then we can cap again. Here you go. And now we have this. Okay, and now if we want to change the this volume, we can do something different. So I can always work with a polyline. Well, that's a pain in the neck. Okay, I'm going to do it with lines. Now we have to be careful with the snapping point. Yeah, because look at this, we are snapping and we don't know where. So let's do here and here. And now I'm going to copy this one. Here. And now I want another line like this. So once we have this shape, I can use the polyline now because I can snap to these points. I can select this extrude, and I can go downwards. And now I can apply the Boolean difference, this one minus this one. And it doesn't work. Maybe because I'm not intersecting anything. Oh, it's because it doesn't have a cap. Okay, now again, the Boolean difference. This one minus that one. And okay, so this is all you have to do. So you have to carve this volume in order to change the heights a little bit. Okay. So that's why RHINO, it's better at this than Revit. In Revit, there is no way to do that easily. In RHINO, with this Boolean difference, you can try. Okay, you can modify those volumes easily with this extrude face or with this Boolean difference. We can try to quickly modify the volumes. I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to create another polyline here. Like this. Now I'm going to extrude this shape downwards. Now I need to move it because I will have to create a gap. And now I can apply the Boolean difference. This one and that one. And at least I can have something different for this corner. Okay, so we have learned how to copy, how to create an array, aligning this array with a path. We have placed parking spaces here and sidewalks, and we have created a road with a roundabout. So a lot of things. So what's next? Here in the other section, I was trying like different options to display different houses. Okay, so we have this. This is probably the highest density that we can get. Okay. So if we want a lot of houses in little space, that would be the option. If we have more space, or if we want to try something different, we can work with this. But the good thing of doing this is just working with geometry. Okay. So imagine that we are working with these Mondrian patterns that we saw last time. The only thing is that we need rules here. And the rules is that the distance between two houses has to be 30 feet. So I'm going to create a grid. And I'm going to place the houses here at these grid intersections. And the only thing I need is that this distance has to be 40. Okay. The distance here is not that important, so I'm going to create a grid that is 20 open space, 40 between two houses, and 20 here. Okay. Okay, so I need a grid, this and this, it's 16. And this and this is 40. Okay, I'm going to create a grid 40 and then 60. So I'm going to create lines and let's do it perpendicular to the screen. So I'm going to use now the default because this is those are auxiliary lines. And now I want to copy. And I want to go 40. And now 80. And now 120. And 160. And 200. Okay, can continue. And now I'm going to do a horizontal line. And the distance has to be 60. 60 and 120. Okay, and now I'm going to take one of the Milan houses, this one, and I'm going to copy it here. I have to rotate it. Go. And why is it always happening? Okay, so now it's in the right level. And now I just have to copy all these houses to the same grid. And now that grid. Go. Okay, so here we have something different. We have a different neighborhood. And now it's a question of making it a little more fun. So I can design green areas. So I'm going to design a rectangle from this midpoint to that midpoint. And now I'm going to offset like 4 inches, 4 feet, sorry. There. And now I'm going to copy this. And all those. There you go. Okay, so I have created those green areas. And now I want to create like a walkway or a pathway going in this direction, but something that it's not so perpendicular. So I want to use the curves now, and I'm going to do like something random. Something like that. Now I want an offset. If this is a walkway, the distance can be 6. Okay. And now at each intersection, I'm going to draw a circle. So I'm going to create diagonals on all these elements. And now I'm going to create a circle. I'm going to copy this. And let's trim. So we have to trim everything. We have to trim the paths inside the circles. And I want to trim the circles between paths. And is here. And I'm going to apply a fillet with a tiny radius, can be 3 feet. And I'm going to apply the fillet here. And by the way, I didn't trim this, so I have to trim. There you go. And now fill it again. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe you don't like it, but I think it's something fun. Okay, so but that always works well, and this is not just you don't have to do squares and circles and. But combining a rigid geometry and then like random pathways, this is something that always work well. Okay, so we have a rigid geometry because we need the right distance between houses. It has to be 40. But then if we can do something random here, it's I don't know, people like it. And now the interesting thing here is that we can divide. Or we have different polylines. And okay, so let's do this. We are going to join all these lines. Okay, so now this is a polyline. And we can extrude this just a little, just 0.1 foot. Okay, so it's something very light. It has a thickness, but very low thickness. I can cap for sure. Okay, so now this is a surface and I can assign a material to this. I can assign materials, yes.
So you said it's supposed to be 40 feet from each house.
Yes.
How are we supposed to fit all the houses that we need in the 2 acres? If that has to be that much space between them?
That's a good question. But you have to wait until the end of the lesson for me to answer that question, okay? So we are dealing with the pathways and green areas and all that stuff now. But 5 minutes before finalizing the lesson, I will answer that meaningful question. Because I want to show you now that we can add something else that we haven't added yet, okay? So we can work with materials. If you type here, where there is a column with materials that it's empty by default. Okay, so we have a default material, which is a white stuff. I want to create a new material. So if you create here new, here we have the default things that we have. We have environments, metal, plastic, screen, stone. Most of them are, okay, we have grass here. Let's keep it simple. Okay, so I don't want to be very realistic here. So I'm going to use plastic. Okay, let's use plastic, this white mate. So that means that it's not bright. So let's select something that it's not bright or it doesn't have reflections. So I'm going to select this one. Open. And now I'm going to change the color. Okay, so if it's green, I'm going to make it greenish, but again, not so green, something elegant like this. So now it has a material. So if I extrude this, I have extruded this just 0.1 feet. So it's something very, very thin, but it stands out from the base color. And now we can add some material, some colors. Okay, so just by doing this, we can explore rendering options. So here you see that we have different, for example, let's explore this. Let's explore artistic. It's something, well, it's not bad. But I think the best one is the pen. Okay, I like this because it looks like if someone has drawn this with a pen or a pencil. So to print it out and start working with colors or lines, I think this is a good option for this first ideas. Okay, so I'm doing this, so I bring this out 11 by 17. So what do you think we can do here? So there's a stage, and I think we're at that stage now, in which what else do we do? Okay, print this and try to work with the pencil again or with color, and then try to make some decisions using this. But I like it. Okay, so it's not a big. It's not something outstanding, but I think it's much better than we can get with Revit, just like this. So doing this with Revit, I mean, this quality of the image, it's quite difficult. So with RHINO, we can do it right away. And we have other options. If we go to render this by default, we have grayish things here, but we can go to render tools. And in render tools, we have a lot of things. So let's explore the sun panel. So first, in the sun panel, let's make sun on. And well, by adding sun, everything looks different because we are adding lights and shadows. And then here, we can control the, where are we, by the way? We are in Accra, in Ghana. Very nice place, but a little far from, okay, Washington, D.C., USA. It looks more familiar. So here you can control, you see that we can control the sun settings. Again, I think this is more intuitive than in Revit. Okay, so this is night, and little by little, let there be light, and now it's dark again. Okay, so we can control the month. So the closer we are to June or July, the more sun hours we have. Okay, so that goes well to control shadows and shades between different houses. So that's the light and the sun position. The ground plane, that's interesting. So let's click on, and if we click on, we have a ground plane, and then we can cast shadows on that plane. You see that we are casting shadows. The resolution is not great, but this is because of the resolution of the computer. But you see that we can have shadows. Okay, so we can get interesting effects like this. Okay, so with this, we can control location, and then we can control the sun angle, and we can control the hour of the day in which we are working. But I think having this ground plane on, I think it works better. What other options can we get with these render tools? So here we have render settings. If you click on the first sphere here, right click, you get render settings. And here we have the viewport. Okay, so we can make it much bigger. If you want to save a good resolution, we can use this 1920 and 1080. The DPIs, this is the dots per inch. We can type 300. And we have the ambient light, by default is black, but we can make it grayish, and then things will change there. Background, it's a solid color. Skylight. And then we click OK. Okay, so things change, as you can see. Well, it's too bright because by default, all the materials are white. Okay, so that's why if we add a material here, this green area, but then we add a new material. And we duplicate. And this is house. And we change the color. Don't go crazy, so let's use grayish and light green. But if we use this grayish color, so now the houses have a different material and it's not as white as it was before. Okay, so I think we can get good pictures of this with little effort, just by using these default materials that we have there. Don't go crazy with realistic materials. This is a rendered view of a model. So we don't want realistic materials yet. We just want volumes and heights and distances between these. Okay,